Hi, folks. Welcome to another episode of Digging for Gold. I'm your host, Dan Goldberg, here on Digging for Gold on Spotify and all other audio networks. We are Dan G, the number 4, the letter U, the number 2 on YouTube. We are Digging for Gold and the number 2 on Instagram. And let's see, Bearded Brilliance on TikTok. This is, again, episode number 14, and we have another very special guest. So if you're wondering about the security of all your technical stuff and cybersecurity, we have Aaron Crosson, who is a cybersecurity expert, and we're going to talk about how to save yourself, right, in cyberland.
Absolutely.
So tell me exactly what you do.
Yeah.
Aaron.
So first and foremost, I want to thank you for bringing me onto the podcast.
My pleasure.
It's an honor and really appreciate getting to connect with you again. But what I do is really eat, sleep, breathe, everything information security, data resiliency. I work for a large-scale cybersecurity consultancy, professional services, and peer-to-peer networking platform called the Information Security Forum. My job here, I'm a regional director of the northeastern U.S. and a little bit of Canada as well. But my job is to really look after our North American clients in terms of information security. Number one, making sure that they have the right policies, procedures, guidelines in place, whether that's something that we provide, whether that's something they've built in-house. What we do is really focus around all things cybersecurity, compliance as well. That's a big focus for large-scale multinational organizations. So to answer your question in a very long-winded way,
that's cool. It's good. We want to know that.
Yeah. That's about it, yeah.
That's it. So what are the biggest problems in cybersecurity that you see out there for the individual and the corporation?
For the corporation, what I really see is staying ahead of emerging threats, right? When the dynamic of threat actors versus an organization, someone that they're going after, we are essentially behind the ball already. Why? Because the threat actors are using the latest technology, developing new attack vectors to use on organizations. So we're already almost, I don't want to say behind the ball, but in a catch-up position, right? And normally. So the space is really about staying ahead, leveraging the experts in the industry to understand what's going to happen down the line, how to plan for that in advance, but also current state, taking a hard look at your own cybersecurity posture, the technology that you have in place, the people that are powering that technology. It's a very, very complex space. So in the changing landscape is the overarching theme across industries, across vertical, across size of industry. The staying ahead of the new and emerging threats is the primary focus.
And that's what you do.
Yeah.
You prevent the threats from happening.
Exactly. So we give teams the ability, the resources, and the knowledge to create a holistic security program and posture to make sure, number one, that they have the right pieces of the puzzle together, the right people powering that technology and those tools. If
you give them the tools and it's the wrong person, not a good thing.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. It's difficult too as well with the businesses are so unique, right? But everyone deals with the same issues, whether that's at a high scale or in the SMB space or a small shop. So
what's SMB?
Small to mid-sized business.
Oh, of course, I should know that. Okay.
Yeah.
And I do know that, and I thought it was some technical term.
Well, there's a lot of acronyms in IT. There's no shortage of acronyms.
I know. I remember I was at a meeting once, and the fellow I was with, that we went in as a team. All he talked about was acronyms, and I had to hit him on down here, and I said, they don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So can you give me an example of a threat that actually is real, that could happen, or has happened?
Yeah. So when I was first starting in the industry and graduating from Temple, wasn't necessarily sure what I wanted to do. And one of the stories that I heard about that really, really intrigued me into cybersecurity was this concept of adversarial testing. So we often think about cybersecurity as all virtual, right? But there's actual ways to hack a system from a physical level. So one of those functions of adversarial testing was acting as a physical threat actor. How do we get into a business? So the security actors who were simulating this attack, what they did was they pretended to be a pizza delivery man, walked in, through the front door, were let in by an employee. They were able to take a USB drive or some sort of technical device, plug it into the system while they were in the office, and they were able to breach the system that way. So that's an example of what we would call social engineering.
So in other words, they took the USB out and then put it in another computer?
Yeah.
And then sent a virus to the system or whatever?
Yeah, essentially,
or hacked the system?
Yep.
Wow, how do you prevent that?
Well,
you don't let pizza delivery. There you go.
Exactly. You always vet those people that are entering, the office, and that brings an interesting point up. Whether physical security and information security are two totally different genres, but they're really intertwined in a lot of ways. So having proper physical security at your business or your home, wherever, is important as well.
I never thought about that. Really?
Yeah.
So when you go into a company and you explain to them what you do they often say, or do they call you that they've been hacked? What does it work? How does it work? So
there's a few different genres, I would say, of cybersecurity providers, value-added resellers, and then managed service providers.
Okay.
So in the case of, and all three can respond in any manner, depending on what they do.
Okay.
So typically, in my previous roles, we would be on the forefront of that posture setup, right? So most of the work that we were doing was putting the right pieces of the technology structure in place, the security infrastructure, your endpoint detection and response, managed detection and response. Do you have firewalls in place? Security for your physical infrastructure. Mm-hmm. That's one area of it. So those organizations would come to us and say, how do we do this? How do we build a holistic security posture? How do we build a program that's in line with our governing and GRC, governing regulatory compliance bodies, so that we're satisfying those needs, so that we're not incurring fines or business problems that ultimately stem from cybersecurity. What I do now, and in the organization that I'm with now, is really geared towards organizations that have some sort of a cybersecurity and compliance posture already, and they're looking to simplify things in terms of that compliance, making sure again that they're able to comply with multinational compliance bodies.
Oh, that's important. Multinational. Stuff, because Europe has different regulations than the U.S. or North America. I mean, I guess every country has different regulations. Mm-hmm. So you have to be up on all that stuff, don't you, with multinational companies? Yeah, and that's the complexity. So what I would focus on is the ability of certain technologies to be hacked, right? Okay. Let's use the example on your previous podcast episode. You were talking about a robot popcorn dispenser. Right? So that robot is hackable, right? Threat actors can break into that system as well and corrupt that. In that case scenario, okay, your robot's not functional to dispense popcorn. It's going to make terrible popcorn. Oh my God.
burn it maybe, you know,
Well,
who knows what's
choke
going
on
on.
it. I get it.
Awful.
Yeah.
Awful.
But
If you're a manufacturing organization,
right.
and you have a multi-million-dollar piece of equipment that's the key point of your production process, even that machine just being held up for a matter of minutes can cost your organization millions of dollars.
You're right.
And that's the challenge, right? So
I did have a company that did rely to some degree on computer analysis of products, but it was years ago, so it wasn't as current. It didn't have the impact it would have. But if you get something blue chip, and now as the more I'm thinking about it, blue chip means top of the line. Okay, something is blue chip. It could have saved us time. But we're in a different area now. We're in like everything is technology. Before it was like my computer in my manufacturing facility had to be in an airtight room with no humidity and special temperature and everything else, but those days are long gone, right? So do you ever work, because most of the stuff that we think about from a technological standpoint comes out of one major industry, and that is called the United States military, right?
yeah.
Yeah. So they're way ahead of us. Okay, they're way ahead of us. Is there a downstream, like, is there a way of knowing what's coming next without damaging security?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, damaging security of the military. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can work in cooperation with military.
Absolutely. So, you know, you bring up an interesting topic, right? Because you in military, in my mind, that goes to wartime, geopolitical conflict. Cybersecurity even has major implications in wartime events.
Absolutely.
And, you know, that's a serious impact that can be made through cybersecurity, whether that's hacking weapons, right, or whether that's disrupting information and communication on the front lines. There's so many pieces of AI and technology and cybersecurity that are really changing that landscape as well. So organizations quite frequently, in terms of producing new technology and innovation, a lot of times the military is getting that from private organizations, right? People that are innovating on their own technology outside the government that then is brought inside of the government.
Okay.
So that's an aspect that we can work with those three-letter agencies. Data intelligence is a huge component to cybersecurity, and what we mean by data intelligence is telemetry from environments, right? Data from environments, but also the ability to be out there on the dark web, investigating what information is for sale, the newest and latest and emerging threats. So that intelligence side of the house can also be used by the military and vice versa, right? So there's a connection that way as well.
What is the dark web? We hear that all the time, and maybe our viewers and listeners don't really know what the dark web is, but they hear about it all the time.
Yeah.
Right.
The dark web is essentially, and again, this is a loose description here, this is
That's
not
fine.
word for word, but the dark web is essentially an unregulated marketplace, and that's how I would quantify it. An unregulated marketplace for threat actors to move freely and to operate in however they see fit. So there's ways that they can use the dark web for communication, and trying to stay under the radar in terms of communication. They can use the dark web for black market sales of information, right? Your personal information has a direct dollar value.
Right.
And that's some of the information that we use in our risk assessments and things of that nature.
How do they do that? I mean, it's like, and I've always wondered that. Is there like a website that says we are the dark web, and you go in. I mean, how do they do it? Where is the dark web?
That's a question I can't answer for you. I personally have never ventured into the dark web.
Right.
The fear of what's out there, and you never know what's going to happen, right? When you're connecting to unsecure and places. So I have never ventured into that space, and I never will.
But you just answered it. They're unsecured sites.
Yeah.
So the unsecured sites somehow can capture your data or whatever.
Yep.
Okay. Sell it to other people on the right. Then they can probably have, and I'm not in your business, so I don't know, but probably have other sites that you register into, and that's what you said earlier.
Yeah.
Becomes a marketplace.
Yeah.
We're selling this. We're selling that. How do you find that out?
Well, there's different service providers that can perform that for you, right? And threat intelligence is exactly that. There's organizations that literally have hackers, right? Adversarial, they call them white hat hackers. They are people that have the ability to act as threat actors, but they are posing as bad guys in order to figure out what's out there. Okay, can I get access to certain pieces of information? I've been seeing that this threat actor is very active in a certain genre. Maybe I'll try to get closer to that area. So
they're like the FBI of cybersecurity.
Yeah,
they're the good guys that act as bad guys. So they're undercover agents in the underworld.
Exactly.
Literally, the underweb.
The underweb. I like that term. That's a good term.
It's trademarked though, but I won't charge it. Okay, the underweb. I like it too. So, how do you analyze somebody's business? What do you do?
There's a number of resources and methodologies that you can use. Number one, if I'm a security leader, there's plenty of resources that are out there that help you assess your own program, right?
Okay.
But there's also organizations like the ISF, the organization that I work for.
Right.
We have various tools that we allow you to use inside the platform that will be various levels of intensity. And when I say intensity, I mean, very, very detailed questionnaires and tools that you can use to assess your own security posture, assess where your information lies, and then we also have like a supplier security tool, which is all focused around the supply chain. That is an area that most organizations are not thinking about in terms of security as well.
Yeah, that's very important. Your supply chain can be hacked.
And we've heard even horror stories of manufacturers in specific bringing in a new piece of technology or a new operating system, or let's say they have organizations that are servicing those operating systems or technologies. If you're not assessing from a security perspective that third party that's performing that work, they could very well be introducing malicious software, open the door for a threat actor to come in. Or
being the threat actor themselves.
Or exactly. So supplying that third party or protecting your third party assets or investments is also
How do you
crucial.
find that?
Again, I think the same methodology of questionnaires, tools to help you assess the security, right, of those supply chains, their posture, their responses, and how they handle information security, where they store their data, how they back up that data, is all pieces of the puzzle that you need to understand.
Does somebody come in, somebody who works with you, let's say, come in and literally go through their hardware and their software?
Yeah. So in a previous role, we would do, as part of your you coming to us, right? And you're saying, hey, we're struggling with developing a security program, right? We think we have the right tools in place. We're not 100% sure. we have backups, we have hardware, we have a mid-size operation. What do we do from here? Mm-hmm. And the first thing that we do is to get a holistic view of their IT infrastructure through diagnostic tooling, right? So a systems engineer, someone that's much more technical than I am, mm-hmm. would use tools and software to find out and get that holistic viewpoint of where the gaps in the security posture are, where the issues lie.
And would they have to pass through security, those people?
Yeah.
They do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless they're let in. That's what we would call like a penetration test.
Okay.
Something where, you're paying like a hacker to break your system.
Yeah.
In that sense. So.
And then they have to be secure people.
Yep.
To find the unsecure or the secure hacker. Mm. The not white hacker. White? Yep. What do you call it? White hat hacker?
Yeah.
A white hat hacker.
Yep.
They're one of the good guys. Do you also have systems, and this is interesting because I'm speaking with people about this now, that mitigate cyber loafing at work? So
you can. There are many providers, many providers that are offering the anti-loafing, screen monitoring, website traffic monitoring of employees to specifically for that reason, for productivity.
Well, for those who may not know what cyber loafing is, it's not buying a loaf of bread over the internet, okay? Cyber loafing is people who should be working who are actually on the web or on their phones or doing something that they're not being paid for, but being paid, okay? It's part of their salary or their hourly wage, but yet they're buying something on Amazon or looking up fashion in some fashion thing or playing solitaire on their
Instagram, seeing what's going on Twitter.
They're going on Twitter. Look, if you're going to cyberloaf, at least watch my podcast right? Or listen to it. I mean, come on.
Seriously.
But it costs companies billions and billions of dollars in lost time and productivity, and you have systems to deal with that?
The ISF is geared 100% to information security, compliance, and data resiliency.
Okay.
So my organization will not handle that, and I wouldn't even quantify that as a cybersecurity function.
Right. I get
it's
it.
more of an IT. I think a lot of people combine. I don't know if I mentioned that already, but people combine the information technology side with the cybersecurity. And really the way that those two play together is this is your data and this is how you protect that data.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. So when you look at the market, what industries are the most open for problematic data breaches and things like that?
Well, really, I think the statistics tend to lean towards manufacturing, gas utilities, organizations that have a supply chain.
Okay.
I would say the second target is really financial organizations because of the sensitivity of the data, and healthcare is a very large target as well.
So supply chain, healthcare, and banking.
Yeah.
That's everything.
Yeah, it's everything.
Pretty much.
It's everything.
Right? I mean, your supply chain is you can't eat without your food coming in unless you live on a farm, right? And you put your money in the bank, and that could be hacked.
Yep.
And then your, what was the other one? Your
like energies, gas, utilities.
Like somebody steals your home energy system, and you're freezing to death.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like, what are we at now, folks? I mean, we could be like, but you, Aaron Crosson, right, Crosson, can save us.
I'm trying to.
Yeah, you're trying. So your company, and it's going to get worse as time goes on.
Way worse.
It's going to get worse, and I know that. But one of the things that we do, okay? And if you listen to the radio or watch TV or you watch the news, everything is terrible. Everything is horrible. The country's falling apart, and it's all based on fear, okay? You fear, you make people afraid enough, they'll do anything, okay, to save themselves, even though it's make-believe, okay, most of the time. And your business can actually tell people it's make-believe, or can handle the ones that are really real.
Yes.
So when we say that it could get worse, where do you think it could get worse, and how can people protect themselves? The individual, okay, protect themselves, because you work with corporations.
Yeah.
But here I am, some guy, old guy with a beard, sitting in front of maybe I'll wear my hat, sometimes I take my hat off, sitting in front of his computer. How do you protect that?
There's a lot of ways that we can protect that as individuals.
Right.
The first and foremost is to practice what you would call good cybersecurity hygiene. That involves, number one, changing the way that you operate, right? And what I mean from that is when you go on and check your emails, right? Thinking from a security first perspective is very important. And when I say, from that perspective, right, there's a few tricks and tips that you can use. You can hover your mouse over, an email to show where the URL, really came from, whether it's authentic or not.
Yeah, I do that. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Do you change your passwords? Do you have different passwords for?
I do.
Good.
I do.
Good.
And I did go to high school, so I know this. Okay? When I see a text that says, "Hi honey, can I call you?" I know it's not my wife. Okay? So I delete that and block it right away. The question that I have is, how did they get that number? Or did they just randomly choose a number and it doesn't matter who it is and they just send it out?
It could have been any number of the combination. This is, and again, you mentioned, fear, and we'll get people to do. Your information, my information, I can tell you with 100% certainty, is out there for sale.
Really?
100%. I can tell you that right now. I can't tell you where. I can't tell you how to access it. I can't tell you who got it.
Okay.
But there is no shortage of information. Every time that you're on social media, every time that you make a purchase online, every time that you're interacting with different apps on your phone, that's all being recorded. That's all data. And that's all data that organizations want to use, whether that's from a threat actor perspective, whether they're trying to sell you something. All of that information is up for sale at all times. So maybe
I should buy my own information.
Yeah, we'll buy it back from them.
I'll buy it. I'll have me. Okay. So, but now the other thing is, and this is strange, and I'm sure that most of the people listening or watching, or even if you're watching, hopefully you're listening, you'll be talking to someone about buying a tent, going camping, and buying a tent, okay? And you'll be and your phone's out, right?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you go on Amazon and tents come up.
Yep.
Right? Like, how did it hear that? How did it know that? I think we've all experienced that. Am I right?
Absolutely. How
does that happen?
I can neither confirm nor deny how it happens because I don't know, but I will tell you that is a theme that I hear constantly. And to tell you the truth, I don't have that answer. I don't know. Is the phone listening to us? Is it picking up on our activities across the app or the platform, or who knows? And there's even certain pieces. I mean, you have to be careful about what you post online. A lot of individuals like to post when they go on vacation. That's a hot topic. It used to be for physical, but now for cybersecurity on the same level, it's doing the same thing. So
I would say never post on social media that you're going on vacation. Never. Okay? Ever. you can say, I went on vacation when you come back, and here's the pictures of St. Lucia, right? Or Antarctica, wherever you went, okay? But never say, I'm leaving, and show pictures of the plane, you're getting on the plane. Well, wait a minute, if a bad actor can say, empty house, right? Empty house, I'll be a mouse, I'll go right in there. Right? That's called, and I know a lot of people do that. And a lot of intelligent people do that, but I would call that ignorance.
Yeah.
Being ignorant doesn't mean you're not intelligent. I've said that before. But think about it. Why would you tell people you're emptying your house? Okay, nobody's going to be home. Is that right?
100%. 100%. That's the way, it's funny to me being in the information security space. When you talk about physical security on an individual standpoint, it's a no-brainer, right? It's a no-brainer. You got locks on your doors and your windows. You have your holistic security, center, right? Your ADT system that's going on.
You got your cameras.
But that mentality doesn't seem to be applied as much as it should be to social media, right? In specific, or online banking in specific, or personal health care information in specific, but we take that approach to everything else.
So that means, like, don't show me a picture of you being in the hospital when you're in the hospital.
Yeah.
That means you're not home.
Right.
Right? Don't show me pictures of St. Lucia while you're in St. Lucia. Unless you live in St. Lucia, that means you're not home. Right? It's like, I could never understand that.
Yeah.
So from your side of it, the dark web, those bad actors can say, yummy. Right?
Absolutely.
Oh, boy.
And they take advantage of you're traveling, right? And usually if you're traveling to a faraway place, there's issues with the financial things, right? You might have trouble with using your debit card, right? At a maybe you have to withdraw money to do a
transaction.
Exactly. And that is a key time for actors to take advantage as well. Right?
How do they do that?
Well, that's the perfect time for there's a trend or a theme in cybersecurity right now, which they're calling deep fakes. I don't know if you've heard the term. So basically what a deep fake is it's loose description here, but how I would describe it is artificial communication, right? Whether that's generated from AI, whether that's an actual human being that's trying to infiltrate you in a certain way or convince you to do something, right? We talked about social engineering with the pizza delivery guy, coming in behind.
I'm not ordering pizza anymore.
Just make sure he doesn't plug anything in.
Right, exactly.
As long as you got that going, you're good. But they're, the
money, overseas, like, what do they do with that? What do they fund?
Well, so you ever you travel internationally?
I do.
So
I never tell people when.
Yeah, you're a smart man. That's called practicing good cyber hygiene.
Yeah, because I went to high school.
Yep.
And college twice. Yeah.
You're pretty educated. You're pretty educated.
Educated. Yeah.
Educated.
So. But what do they do?
So when you go over to a new country, I got distracted there like 3 times.
That's okay. So did I, but that's okay.
But when you're going and you're traveling, right? A lot of times you'll get a verification notice, right? Oh, hey, your card is being used in Italy. Is this actually you?
Right.
Well, people are getting smart and they understand that they can engineer a confirmation message of some sort to give you to make you give your personal data away, and then they can use that data to access your bank account, access your financials, charge your credit cards.
I never thought of that. So is that you? And you say yes, that means I'm in Italy when I should be in Philadelphia or New York or LA or wherever I live, right?
Yeah.
It's like, wait a minute, I never thought of that.
Yeah.
So all these things that go to bad actors can create real problems for you. It's like they talk about stolen identity, right? This is sort of when people think of stolen identity, they think of their Social Security card, or maybe their Social Security payment if they're older, or pension or whatever. But it's much more entailed than that, is what you're explaining.
Absolutely.
And you just don't do, what would be the technical term for this? Don't do stupid things.
Yeah.
Okay? Don't do stupid things. Think about it before you do it, and delete things. What's another way of finding out if it's like somebody searching to get you, or striving to get you to respond to a bogus email or a bogus text?
Truthfully, most of the efforts are very poor. The messaging, typically what you should look for in those types of messages is bad information. When I mean bad information, maybe, font looks a little funny in this email. I've never seen that email address before. I don't expect to have that email. This looks like it has a PNC email address. Maybe I'll call and verify. Right? Multi-factor authentication is a big thing in cybersecurity. So using multiple forms of communication to confirm a detail is huge as well. So I think really it's to take the physical security mindset and apply it to the other aspects of your online life, right?
So you did say, and I've seen this, when you get an email that you think is funky, okay, a spam, but you're not sure, you look at the person who sent it to you and you hover over, click over their name. You're not clicking to send them back anything.
Yep.
And if it looks like Steve at Amazon 489273XYM, .com.
Yep.
That Steve is really not Steve.
That's malware. That's ransomware. That's some type of malicious software that when you click on that email, bad things are happening. Bad things are happening.
I don't think you want bad things to happening, folks out there. Okay, you listen to Aaron Crosson. He knows his stuff. So when you get those funkadelic emails, right?
Yeah.
Don't click on them. You can hover over them, okay? But don't click on them. And don't post your trip, especially with, we're going to Hawaii on American Airlines flight 4322, and we're leaving on Friday. Look, here's a picture of us all, right?
Right.
That's stupid, but in capital letters.
Yeah. And I feel like I've done a lot of talking from a point of bad things are happening, but there's a lot of good things that are happening in
Tell us
security.
About the good things.
So one of the things that I will say is that historically, compliance has driven a lot of. October is Cybersecurity Culture Awareness Month.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's coming up. This is good timing here.
It is. I have to put my cybersecurity flag out.
Yeah. There you go. But there is so much good in terms of cybersecurity. I mean, we say that we're behind the ball in terms of threat intelligence, but we have some of the brightest, sharpest, most intelligent people from the other side of the fence that are working for the good guys now. People that you mentioned, military. I have a few coworkers that are, ex-current involved in certain things that we probably shouldn't be talking about.
We won't talk about it.
But the outlook is good. The outlook is fantastic. And as fast as the threat actors are creating the latest and greatest threat vector, we're responding with the solution to that security problem. So, the outlook is very good. And I will say across the board, in my career, I've had the opportunity to work with organizations that are 2 employees that have a very, very small online presence, the whole way up to the largest, financial organizations in the world, right? We mentioned Forbes 500.
Right.
Across the board, across industry, cybersecurity training and simulating events in real world scenarios and actually taking action on replicating a real world event has increased dramatically.
It reminds me, and it really is. It reminds me of war.
Yeah.
It's war. I know a lot of people don't like to use that word, but it really is.
It is.
And when you see someone invading your company or invading your life, you have to have the ability to overwhelm them with force, internet or security force.
Yeah.
So not only are they not going to invade your life or your company's life, but they're not even going to think about it because you're wiping them out. Is that what the kind of stuff you're involved in?
Yeah, I mean the we want them to know, right? The information security leaders want the threat actors to be scared, to say that, look, we've done and know what's out there, and we've done the proper things to protect our business. We're confident that you won't be able to get in, right, through any measure.
Wow.
So there's definitely, I could go on and on about the different technologies and pieces, but what you're alluding to here is 100% accurate. That security posture needs to be looked at like an onion, right, or a slice across a tree, right, where there's rings on top of rings and layers on top of layers, and that is what is important to the things that you're mentioning as well. It's easy to open one door. It gets a little more difficult to open the second door. The third door is, things get really tough. So having those layers into all of those things will protect you as well.
And I would think that there are certain things you can't talk about.
Yes. There are. It makes me sound cooler than I am, but
No,
yeah.
I'm sure about that. It's like in the military.
Yeah.
When you say, so what did you do when you were over? Well, I can't tell you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
And it's the same. You're in the security business.
Mm-hmm.
And people in the security business can say certain things in generalities, but they can't, put the shades up on their secure stuff and let everybody look in.
Yeah.
Because then it's no longer secure.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So ultimately, what would you advise people to do? You have done this throughout this podcast, but if you can sort of encapsulate what you should do to protect yourself, to help the people watching and listening.
I think you broke it down in the way that you should, right? Which is keep it simple. Don't, when I say keep it simple, I don't mean use the same password for every application that you're using. What I mean is stop and think about things before you take action on them. Before that email comes in and you're working through your inbox trying to clear out the 5 that are in there, take a second, think about what you're doing, think about the real world implications that might have on you by clicking on the wrong link, how it can negatively impact your life. That's what the focus needs to be, is taking a step back and pausing before we act, thinking about the actions that we're taking, not only from a physical perspective, but a virtual perspective. How is this information, how could this information be used? Excuse me. Do I have information that someone would be wanting to steal? The answer is 100% yes. I can tell you right now, people say all the time, I don't have valuable information, or that's not true. Your identity is valuable. Your personal credentials are valuable. So that's really what I would advise against is, number one, being aware of the common tricks, right? Getting that call from your boss to go buy a couple $500 gift cards for an employee program, right? Like using common sense and multi-factor authentication to confirm when you get certain things that you're not and unsure about, right? An email, call the person to verify. If it's a text, call the number and see if it's the right organization that you're trying to be speaking with. So.
Yeah, it's interesting. Multi-factor authorization can be a pain in the butt, okay? It's one other layer and da-da-da-da, but it works.
It does.
They say, we're going to call you now, right? We're going to text you now. You've given great advice. Now, my other question is to give us some advice about social media. Now, it may apply in the same way, but Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, all those things, there's so many of them. I don't even, there's something called Tumblr, right? And things like that.
Yep.
What would you advise people to do to protect themselves?
First and foremost, if you're going to use any type of platform with social media, whether it's Instagram, whether it's Tumblr that you mentioned, there are public information. I wouldn't say public information. There's resources that you can go to verify that organization is implementing the right security controls, right? And what I mean by that is, a financial organization, a banking institution, if they're SEC compliant, which if you're over a certain level in assets under management, you have to comply to their standards. If they're SEC compliant, I know that they have the right security tools in place. They're doing the at least they're heading in the right direction of making sure that my information is secure as the consumer. So the first thing is you can always investigate into those platforms, figure out, okay, are they doing the right things in terms of security? Secondly, be very careful about what information that you're sharing, right? Because every piece of information is important. What I mean by that is we have AI that is creating again, artificial messaging, right? We've even seen in one of the services that we provide is called a cyber simulation exercise. And what we'll do in certain scenarios, what we have done in certain scenarios, is set up a situation where there is an AI-generated video of a leader at the organization making some type of announcement. Hey, we would really like to have everyone empty their 401k. I'm creating some whatever negative some negative action, right? So all of the pictures that you're posting of yourself can be used in that manner by threat actors, right? This picture of your background and your environment may give certain details away. If you post a picture in front of your computer and there happens to be your login and half a password in the there's I would just tie it back to being smart, right? Making sure that you're thinking about things before you post them. You're thinking about the implications that your information.
And what about when you comment on Instagram or TikTok or Facebook or whatever?
I don't see I on Instagram, I think there's more of a risk for in the messaging side of that platform. Right. I don't know. I'm sure you have Instagram, and you'll probably get it seems like weird, malicious. Yeah. And you'll be in a group with like 4 or 5 users or 30 users, and nobody knows anybody, and it's just strange like that. So I would urge against blocking, getting rid of those conversations on your, on your personal messages side. But from a user interface and a platform standpoint, Instagram is very secure. It's more Instagram. I would be more focused about who's trying to contact you via messaging, and then secondly, just be mindful of the content that you're posting on that platform.
I also get, and I would think most men get this, and women get the mail. Hi, I've seen you on Facebook often or Instagram. I'd like to talk to you, or something like that, or can we be friends? and they'll get some guy that looks like, he just came out of a movie, and the men get one of a woman that looks like she just came out of a movie.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody gets that. And the best thing to do is delete them right away, right?
Yeah.
Because that's not the person who's behind that whole thing, right?
Right.
That's some guy somewhere or woman somewhere who's malicious. But some people will go, ooh.
Yeah. I'll entertain this for a minute
Yeah,
or two.
she's pretty, he's handsome, right?
Yep.
Let me see, maybe they're real. They're the dark web.
Yeah. A lot of times, yeah.
Yeah, so you got to be
They're threat
just
actors.
delete and block,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely. And it's funny that you bring that up, because I mentioned this event, B-Sides, that I was at on last Friday. There was an individual who was, I'm thinking about how I need to phrase this. So there was an individual who was telling a story about something similar to this, and the way that he had actually broken into a business system was creating a simulated coworker profile. So what he did was, he created an AI-generated image, from of a random person, created a whole profile, a ring of experience through LinkedIn. A massive, repertoire of all the things that you would want to simulate a real profile.
Right.
They created a fake account, like let's say they're a coworker of yours, right? A professor at Temple, right? Connects with you. Most people would just see Temple, professor, got to be a coworker. I don't know him. I'll accept it. And that was actually the way that he was able to he was doing an adversarial test, but break their system through the connection that way. And I don't know if it was LinkedIn or whether it was a different type of platform, but
Facebook?
yeah, it could have been. Yeah.
Any of those.
Yeah.
So your final word to all those people listening and watching is what?
Is think before you act. I don't know.
That's the best thing.
It seems so simple. It seems too easy. But be careful and mindful of what information you're putting online, and make sure that the platforms that you're using are secure. And if they're not secure, find one that is and jump over to that platform.
Is that the HPPS?
That could be a secure site. Yeah,
that's a secure site.
Yep.
So think about that too when you
Yeah.
see there up in the top, if it says HPPS, it's secure.
Hover over links before you get them. Never click on a link that you did not expect to get. So it's not a link, not an email. Don't open the email if you did not expect a message, an email, a piece of information. It 100% assume that it is a threat. It is malicious. It is no good. That's what I would caution against.
And with those final words, and they're great words, pay attention to that. Do those things. You're less likely to get hacked and get the dark web involved in your life. You don't want that.
You do not.
Aaron Crosson, thank you, sir.
Yeah, of course.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
This has been great.
This was awesome.
Thank
awesome
you.
Conversation.
I loved it. It was great. And I hope you loved it too. I'm sure you did. Heed his words, please. We'll see you next time on Digging for Gold. Take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.